Picture this for a second: someone says something about you in front of a room full of people. And in that one frozen moment, your brain does something that will shock you. It does not prepare you to respond. It does not help you find the right words. It does not give you confidence or clarity. Instead, it does the exact same thing it would do if a 200-pound lion just walked through the door. It shuts your thinking brain completely off, floods your body with panic hormones. It prepares you to run and fight a lion. That is not there, and here is the part that should genuinely disturb you. This is not a metaphor. This is measurable biology happening inside your skull right now. And it has been silently running your most important social moments your whole life without you ever knowing it existed. And by the end of this video, that changes completely. So before we go any further, drop a comment right now and tell me, what is the hardest part of public humiliation for you? Is it the freeze when your brain goes blank? Is it finding the right words in the moment? Or is it that mental replay that follows you home for days and will not stop? Your answer matters, and it is going to shape exactly what I cover next. But before I show you exactly how this brain glitch works, I need you to understand one thing first, because without this piece, nothing else I am about to share will land the way it needs to. And this one piece of information is also the reason you should stop feeling any shame about every single time you froze when someone put you on the spot. Because what was happening inside you in those moments was never about your confidence, and it was never about your character. 200,000 years ago, your ancestor is walking through open grassland, and suddenly a lion steps out from behind the trees. And in that millisecond, their survival depends entirely on not stopping to think, because thinking takes time and time gets you killed. So the brain evolved a bypass system, a direct emergency line from the threat sensor to the body that completely skips rational thought. It floods the muscles with adrenaline. It narrows vision to the threat. It shuts down language and logic. That moment, language and logic are useless. What matters is survive right now, fast. And that system is still inside your skull today, running the exact same program. Except now it cannot tell the difference between a predator that wants to eat you and a coworker who just made a joke at your expense in a meeting. Both of them light up the exact same alarm. Both of them trigger the exact same shutdown. And that is why you froze. That is why the perfect words arrived 4 hours later in your car. That is why your face burned and your chest tightened and your brain went silent at the one moment you needed it most. It was not weakness. It was a system designed for a world that no longer exists, running on a brain that never got the update. And here is what this means for you specifically. And this next part is something that most people in your life will never understand about themselves. Because knowing that your brain has this glitch is only step one, and step one alone will not help you in the moment. What you actually need is a way to interrupt the glitch while it is happening in real time, before it steals your words, before it freezes your body, and before it hands the entire room over to the person who just tried to humiliate you. When someone humiliates you publicly, the room does not belong to the aggressor, even though it feels that way. Every single person standing around you watching is experiencing their own version of your brain glitch. They feel the social threat, they feel the discomfort, they want nothing more than to exit the awkwardness. But they are frozen by the same mechanism you are frozen by, because nobody wants to become the next target. And the silence you read as the room turning against you is actually the room privately hoping someone does something to shift this moment, and that someone is you. And here is what happens the instant you do not react the way the aggressor expected. When you pause, when you breathe, when you stay calm and unbothered, every watching brain in that room starts generating questions, because the human brain cannot leave an incomplete picture alone. Why is this person so calm? What do they know that I do not? Is the aggressor actually the one who just lost something? Here you are not speaking yet, and you have already planted doubt in every mind in the room simultaneously, which brings us to step 3. And this is the step that turns understanding into something you can actually use in the moment tonight. Because psychology without practical ammunition is just theory, and the people who watch videos like this and actually change how others treat them are the ones who walk away with specific things to say, not just concepts to think about. So here is exactly what to say when this happens to you. After your pause, after your breath, there are a few specific responses that work at a psychological level, not because they are clever insults, but because they refuse to play inside the aggressor's frame entirely. And here is the first one. When someone mocks something about you, your work, your past, your choices, you look at them calmly and say something like, "That is all right. Not everyone needs to understand where I am heading." And then you stop talking completely. You do not explain, you do not defend, you do not soften it, you let it sit exactly as it is. And here is why that works psychologically. It is a complete sentence that requires no follow-up. It signals total internal security without performing it. And it gives the aggressor absolutely nothing to push back against, because there is no argument in it. The second response is for moments when someone brings up a past failure or mistake, and you say, "Yes, I made that mistake, and I learned more from it than most people learn from their wins." And again, you stop there. No apology, no over-explanation, just stillness. And the third response is for the moments when someone tries to diminish who you are as a person, and you simply say, "I'm comfortable with who I am," and that seems to bother you more than it bothers me. None of these responses are angry, none of them are cruel, but all of them carry a quiet psychological weight that is almost impossible to argue with because they are coming from a place that has nothing to prove, and that place is what step 4 is entirely about. Because you can use every one of those lines and still feel like they did not fully land if you are missing the one internal thing that gives all of them their real power. And this is the piece that no script and no comeback list can give you, but it is also the piece that once you have it means you rarely need the script in the first place. There is a psychological framework called sociometer theory, and what it reveals is that your brain runs a continuous background process monitoring your perceived standing inside every social group you belong to, and when that standing drops suddenly, the brain fires real pain through real neural pathways that overlap with physical injury. This is why embarrassment hurts the way it does. It is neurologically designed to hurt. But here is what the research also shows: people who have built a genuine settled sense of self-approval experience far smaller drops on that internal monitor when someone attacks them publicly, not because they feel nothing, but because their identity is not sourced from the room, it is sourced from somewhere inside themselves. That the room cannot reach in building that is not something that happens in a single video, but the starting point is concrete and small. It is this: tonight, after you close this video, write down 3 things you handled well this week, not perfectly, just well, because what you are training your brain to do is build an internal evidence base for your own competence and worth. And the more that evidence base grows, the less any room, any comment, and any aggressor can shake what you know about yourself. And when people sense that in you, something changes in how they approach you, not because you became intimidating, but because you stopped being easy, and that shift is permanent in a way that no single comeback ever could be. So right now, before you close this video, do 3 things. First, drop a comment below and tell me which of the 3 responses from this video you're going to use. First, I read every single comment. Second, hit the like button right now, because it genuinely helps this video reach the people who need it most. And third, subscribe and hit the bell, because the next video goes into something almost nobody in this space covers: the specific posture, eye contact, and presence shifts that make certain people completely invisible to aggressors before a single word is ever spoken. And that one is not something you want to miss.